Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? YouTube finest in the house, chilling with Unc. What's going on? Get some things going. Got a few people come in. Got some news. Got some news for you today. Got some news that you can use. Let me get everything set up, y'all. Got some news. Got some news. What's going on? YouTube finest in the house, chilling with Unc. Today's topic is man up. Man up. About to call some things out. And like I say, like I always say, it's no judgment towards nobody. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the things that I'm talking about is things that I've experienced my own self, things that I can work on my own self, things that I've learned, things that I saw. And today, I'm going to talk about it. But as I do from the beginning of my videos, I like to have a scripture or something that kind of go in sync with what I'm talking about. So this says, a man of God should never abandon his spiritual commitment, neglect his duties, or stray from the teachings of God. He should prioritize God's will and seek to live a life that honors him. Additionally, he should never separate what God has joined together, such as a marriage. Okay. All right. So one thing I'm going to talk about first of all. All right. Starting from the beginning. In the beginning of time, we had Adam. Okay. Adam and Eve. God made the man. I'm not going to go all through the Bible verses. I'm just going to give you the top layer of it. God made man. Then he made Eve from man. From the beginning of time, God gave man a duty. And when it was all said and done, he failed. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, it was the woman. He listened to the woman and did what the woman told him to do. No. Adam was a man God created. God gave him simple instructions and he failed it. So that's something that he was punished for because of what he did. Eve, she sinned and she did, what she shouldn't have done. But Adam had an assignment as a man and he failed it. And the thing is, like, as men, like, we're gonna fail, we're gonna win. That's why God is so forgiving, because he already know that we're not gonna get everything right all the time. We're not gonna be perfect. That's why he sent Jesus to die for our sins, because he already know that we was not going to be perfect in our lives. So that was one. And then there was another situation where there was another man of the Bible where, Job. Now I gave you where man made a mistake in the beginning. What's up, everybody? I see people coming in. What's going on? What's going on? What's up? What's up? Now, Job, on the other hand, was a man of God. And God allowed the devil to go and tempt Job with all type of things. I mean, Job lost so much through pretty much the torture that he went through that God allowed. But Job stayed firm on his belief and his trust in God. So he passed the test. And when it was all said and done, he was blessed with well beyond what he lost. So basically I'm giving an analogy of what we deal with as men. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. For those that just coming in, I just talked about Adam, how he was the first man, and God gave him an assignment, and he failed. A lot of people blame Eve. He listened to the woman. No, God specifically gave Adam an assignment, and he failed. Then I went to Job, how uh, Job was, focused on God, and God allowed the devil to go and pretty much torture Job. And Job, I said go. Job stayed firm on his belief, and he was rewarded. So that was back in the day. Now I'm gonna move forward in time. Now the first thing I want to say this. A lot of times, and this is for women too. So don't think that women can't listen in on what's going on, because there's some lessons in this for y'all too. A lot of times we make makes mistakes as human beings, is when we give men excuses. We make excuses for men messing up. Okay, one of the things about being a man, that's why this series is called Man Up. One of the important things about growing and being a man is accepting responsibility for your actions. But I've seen in a lot of cases where the women, the mothers, the girlfriends or whatever, they make excuses, and a lot of times, especially when you talking about a young man growing up, and I get it, there's a lot of single moms out here, but you talking about a young man growing up. I know me as a parent, like I always wanted my kids to have more than what I had. You know, in some cases I was able to do things, in some cases I wasn't. But the point is, uh, when you have a young man growing up, you have to teach him to accept responsibility for his actions. Because as a man, uh, you have the responsibility that, you have to take that responsibility, or you're going to wind up just pretty much in a losing situation. So I say, don't ever make excuses uh, for these guys. We all as men have to do, what we need to do for our families, for ourselves. And there's no excuse for it. There's no excuse to be lazy. There's no excuse to be, trying to live off a woman and using it. There's no excuse for all of that, seriously. And I ain't judging nobody, but listen, everything that I talk about, I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about things that I went through that I had to grow and learn from. And believe me, it's karma that's going to come with. If you going around and you using somebody, you taking advantage, you best believe that karma is going to come with it. So my advice is that, that you do what you need to do as far as, taking responsibility for your actions. I see people coming in. I'm trying to see if I can catch some of these comments. What's up? What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? But what else? Also, like I said, I spoke on the men from back in the day of the Bible, where Adam made a poor choice, Job made a good choice. You have others of the Bible that was tested and had to, you know, accept responsibility of their actions. But I'm going to fast forward to nowadays. The problem that I'm seeing nowadays is a lot of the young people don't have the structure. A lot of the young people are raising themselves, and part of it is because the moms are young, and they basically are babies their own self. So they still want to live and do things the way they want to live and do things. And a lot of these young men are being raised on their own. Like we don't have, the uncles and, you know, the ones that used to be there like when I was growing up that would get you in line if you was doing something that you ain't had no business doing. And your mom would be okay with them getting you in line because, they didn't go for that. They didn't go for that type of behavior. So, but nowadays it's like, everybody is running wild, but that's why I'm here because, I want to be a voice. I want to be an ear. You know, I want to be a mentor. I want to kind of tell my story so that maybe someone can learn from my mistakes and they can grow and be more prosperous in life than me. That don't go through all the negatives that I went through. They can just pretty much skip the line on a lot of nonsense if they just go in a positive direction. I went through life and yeah, I had the structure, but I still, you know, ended up making poor choices and being a knucklehead at times. And even as an older man now, like I still, make little mistakes or whatever like that. But the fact of the matter is, when it's all said and done, what I've learned is that I'm going to accept responsibility for my actions. No matter how hard it is, no matter what's at risk, I'm going to accept responsibility for what I've done, what I said, and a lot of times, I'm getting better at it, but sometimes we say things that we don't mean, and we come across negatively. Like I've been told that when I talk, I have a little bit of sarcasm in my tone or in my voice and how I talk or whatever like that. But I really don't mean to. Honestly, I really don't mean to. I just want to be honest about my feelings and what I got going on. I'm not trying to be sarcastic at all, but I get accused of it a lot, and every day I try to work towards making the people around me feel comfortable and valued, because the last thing I want to do is to try to make anybody feel less than or make anybody feel bad. I want to encourage. I want to help. You know, I'm not here to judge. I'm not no. There's a lot of people out here that think that they next to God and godliness, and I ain't judging. That's for them. That's for them. But that's not me. That's not me. I'm a human being that's just trying to live the right way. Trying to do my best to do the right thing, trying to help encourage other people any way that I can, and that's me. You know, and I in previous videos I talked about my story, and I'm going to go over just a little bit. Like I've been through some things, and I'm still struggling with some things. Like, um, you know, when you lose family members, uh, people you looked up to when they pass away and they leave, like it affects you even as a man. Because when I was growing up, like we was brought up on this, like it ain't no crying stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like you a sucker or something. Like if you cry, if you let things get to you, you got man up. You know what I'm saying? That's how we was brought up. But as I got older, I realized that that's dangerous. That's a very dangerous thing to do, because what you're doing is compacting and compounding those feelings, and eventually, when it's all said and done, maybe possibly at the wrong time, it's all going to erupt. It's going to explode, and it could affect somebody that you really care about. But you done held all of that hurt and frustration and all of them tears you done held back from being calling yourself being a manly man, and not being um uh I guess, in touch with your feelings or whatever. Like that don't make you soft to be understanding, to be caring, to be loving. That don't make you soft, you know. And it took me a lot of years to figure that out. Like, you know, always, like I said, always was taught, like, you know, it's go hard or go home, pretty much, you know. So anyway, I don't have a problem with doing that. Like, I don't have a problem with expressing my feelings, emotions, or whatever like that, you know. And I don't care if somebody feel negatively about my expression and how I feel. I don't care. I used to care a lot what people think, what people said, how people feel, and I try to make adjustments in my life to fit how everybody else feel and what everybody else. No, I'm not doing that no more, and that's not good for you. That's not good for you. Cause check this out: when you was born, man or woman, when you was born, uh, God gave you a life. Okay, your life is for you to do whatever it is that He wants you to do, not for you to do what somebody else feel, what somebody else wants you to do. No, no. And this is what's a lot of times what's going on now with it not being not being enough direction with the young generation. They following along with other people, and whatever other people's opinions is, they making it theirs, you know. And I'm hoping and praying seriously, like, it's no judgment, but I'm really hoping and praying that, like, the words that I'm saying, like the things that I do, can be a positive influence. Like, I've already seen a little bit of it, and I mentioned this in the previous video also. Um, I was always a basketball fanatic, like playing basketball. That was my thing. Like, you know, it don't matter. I worked 12 hours and I still hit the courts. That's how I was, right? But I had young people that was that would be on the court, you know, just learning how to play ball or whatever, and the same way somebody taught me. Like, when I first went out there playing ball, like, my jumper was, it was a no go, and it was a white dude one day. I was out there just practicing. It was all flicked. My jumper was flicked, and a white dude, he told me, he said, you hold your hands like this, and you know, put this hand this way and put that hand this way, and then just let it go. And I made the adjustments that he told me, and sure enough, I hit the shot the first time, and I was like, wow. And I practiced, and after a while, like, it was just part of me. That you know, that flow, that jumper was a part of me, you know. So, but he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that. And that's what I did. I had young people that I came across, whether I was in Baltimore, whether I was in North Carolina, um, South Carolina. Anytime I come across young people, I get out there playing with them. I see that they need help with something, whether it's working on their left hand, whatever. I would help them. And, you know, it made me feel good. And I know I said this before, but it made me feel good. I seen one of the kids that I used to play ball with. The kid was nothing but like 9 or 10 years old, but he was tall. He was tall. I said, dang, you know. So, but, you know, he was one of the kids that I work with. And about a month ago, I was in the store, and this big old tall dude, like he about 6'5", came up to me and said, hey, what's up, old school? I was like, hey, what's up? But I recognized his face. But I forgot what his name was, because it'd been years since I seen him. I said, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? He's like, I'm doing good. He said, man, I'm glad I ran into you. You know, I really appreciate the time that you put in with us. Like, I know for a fact, like, if it wasn't for you helping us and giving us that guidance back then, ain't no telling where I would have been, man. He said, I appreciate it. The man shook my hand, and like seriously, I felt I know I mentioned this in another video. Somebody probably already said, we heard this already. But listen, that mean a lot to me. That mean a lot to me that I can make a difference in somebody's life like that. And that's part of being a man. You know what I'm saying? Teaching other people the positive way. You know what I'm saying? You know, not teaching them the negative and to do silly stuff. Because when it's all said and done, all that stuff ain't gonna get you nowhere. But either under the ground, in jail, you know what I'm saying? So I don't teach stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't preach stuff like that. Teach or preach. And I ain't preaching to nobody. I'm trying to encourage. You know, so that's why today's topic is man up, and the points that I'm making is not this. We got to stop making excuses. As men ourselves, we have to stop making excuses for the things that we want in life. Like God chose us to be the heads of our households, to be leaders, and we have been failing. We have been failing, and me included. Like I slipped away and doing silly stuff. I should be way beyond where I'm at right now. But because of silly little mistakes and wrong turns that I made in life, I'm at this point that I'm at. You know, but it's not a bad thing. I'm not looking at it as all negative. I feel like this YouTube is God giving me another opportunity to do better, to help somebody, you know. But let me say, what's up? What's up? I can't see all of y'all things. That, as I said, if, for anybody that's new, I have vision problems, and um, when I was born, if I haven't had nobody to ask me about my eyes yet, but let me just tell you this: when I was born with undeveloped pupils, and my eyes didn't develop all the way around. And they told my mom that I would be blind, that I would never see. And I remember growing up, even starting school, they had me in a class like taking braille and stuff like that. And I didn't stay long. I don't know what happened, but the point is, listen, doctors don't always know the power of God, because here I am 52 years later, and I still can see. I still drive. Like, my problem now is I have these cataracts on my eyes, and because I have the situation with the undeveloped eyes and pupils or whatever, you know, they have to be cautious about the laser treatments and stuff like that. It's not like regular people can just go in and remove it and they going on about their business. So it has to be steps taken, precautionary steps taken. But so if anybody on here and they wonder why I don't be reading the comments all the time, is because unless I have my narrator here, which she's not here right now. You know, a lot of times I just say what's up, but don't be upset with me, y'all. Like, I'm here. I'm here. I'm with y'all. It's just I can't really see it. And I don't want to be all up on the screen here trying to, figure out who's all here. So shout out to everybody that's in the house tonight. I appreciate y'all coming and joining me and listening to my story. Like, I hope that I can and motivate you, whether you're a man or a woman. I hope that I can motivate you. I can encourage you. I can be an encouragement to your life. I can be a positive. I can be welcomed into your household and be a part of the family, and y'all be a part of my family. You know, but I'm making these. I'm talking about these subjects because they're very important. You know, even though some of the things I talk about is, life experiences or whatever like that. You know, uh, like my first crush and all that stuff like that. Little silly stuff that I did growing up or whatever. But this is a serious topic, and I just wanted to talk about it because, you know, I feel like as men we got to do better. We got to do better. You know, we can't do everything. I get it. Sometimes, you know, these young people, sometimes it was just like us. Like, this is what my mom used to say, this saying, you make your bed hard, you gotta lie in it. So sometimes people have to go through some things before they realize that they need to start doing things a little bit better, that they need to start making some changes in their life. And no matter what kind of encouragement you giving them, like, you know, the most that you can do for them is pray for them. But there is that percentage of people that just want somebody to care, you know. So, hey, anybody that you can save, anybody that you can help to be positive, to do things a little bit better in life, is a plus. It's a plus. But one day I'm gonna have, once I figure all of this stuff out, because I'm still, you know, I'm still new at this. I'm still learning this YouTube process, and I, like I said, I've always been a YouTube fan. Like, for a long time, I got a whole lot of people that I look at and that I think a lot of. I'm not gonna mention no names or nothing. I ain't trying to, what they say, clout chase or nothing like that. I'm not doing that. But I, from watching them, I know there's certain things that they do that I haven't figured out how to do yet. And I just ask that y'all just bear with me as I learn this process, and roll with me. Y'all the first ones in. Y'all getting to see me from scratch, and after a while I have it like snapping a finger, and I'll be like a news reporter bringing the news to you, and it'd be more of a flow, you know. But I really appreciate y'all coming in. But uh, this man up, like, seriously, like, you know, I always got to shout out the men of my life that tried to give me direction, even though I was a knucklehead sometimes. But, you know, my uncle Joe, you know, my uncle Key, Uncle Junie taught me how to cut my hair, how to fix my bikes. Um, I learned a little something from my father. We didn't have like a great relationship, but I thank God we had um, a reconnection for probably about a year before he passed away. So I was blessed enough to have that time with him, you know, and I was able, even as a grown adult, to get some value out of him, some things that I needed from him within that last year of his life. I was able to get that, you know, and I'm glad that I wasn't hard hearted and unforgiving for the things of the past. I'm glad that I had heart enough to go around him and to help him, to be around him, because it allowed me to be able to get those things that I needed to grow as a man from him. Some of those things. There was still some unanswered things, but I got what I needed, you know, to move forward. So when he passed away, you know, it was sad and everything, and you know, but when I started having kids myself, and I started making mistakes as a parent, as a man myself, I gained a better understanding for why he was the way that he was. And a lot of times it's because of it's learned behavior. It's because the men in his life only taught him a certain amount. So when it came to him and his kids, like, he only had a certain amount of information to teach himself. Like my father, he was good for taking care of the household. He was a worker. He brought the money home. He made sure the bills was taken care of. He even took us on vacations. But he wasn't the type of man to say I love you, or say, "Come here, son, give me a hug." He wasn't that type of man. Like he didn't have that. I didn't get "I love you" from him until 6 months before he passed away. That's when I got the first time ever he ever told me that he loved me. And I was 20 something odd years old, and I felt like a little kid. Like it made me feel so special. So, one thing, even though I didn't get everything right with my kids, but one thing for sure, I always made my kids realize and understand that I love them. I always told them how much I love them. So I took that one thing that I wasn't taught, and I used it going in with my kids. Now, I didn't do everything right. I didn't do everything right, and my kids are grown now. I have two daughters and one son. Uh, our relationships are okay. I wish they were better, but um, I got information. They can come to me anytime for information. If they need to know anything, if they need help with anything, they can always come to me. And I'm always going to tell them the truth. I'm always going to tell them the truth. I ain't going to lie. I ain't going to beat around the bush. Whatever you need to know, I'm going to tell you, you know? So this is what we have to do. This is part of man up, you know? Um, growing up, I remember they always say, stay in a child's place. And, a lot of times the kids, I'm going off topic, but a lot of time the kids were, you know, they wasn't included in, grown folks' business and stuff like that, and which they shouldn't have been. And nowadays you have a lot of kids that's included into grown folks' business, and in a lot of cases you got a lot of grown kids, but some things kids need to know. What's up? What's up? I'm seeing people say hi. I don't see all of y'all names, but what's up, everybody? I appreciate y'all coming and joining in with me and chatting with me in my live. I appreciate y'all, man. It make me happy to see y'all in here sticking around. I appreciate it. And then shout me out at that too. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. But I'm just like I said, I'm just starting out. I'm just starting out. I'm getting better at it. Like, I was so much more nervous when I first started out. If you look at my first video, like I was shaking like a leaf. But I'm getting more relaxed with, you know, my lives and my conversations, and, just being loose, being silly with my little dance or my singing or whatever like that. Like, I appreciate the feedback. I get a lot of comments, and even though some of my comments, I don't know, I got to figure that out. But some things I'm not getting. Just like I heard some people be on live, and they're not being seen or whatever like that. But I don't know. I figure it all out. But I appreciate y'all coming in and joining me. But just to recap everything, let's see this. So in the beginning, you had Adam. Adam made the mistake by not listening and doing what God told him to do. Like I said, a lot of people, he listened to the woman. No, Adam disobeyed. So he messed up. Okay. So he was forced to go out there and do better. He was forced out of the kingdom. Then you had it was some along the way that did good things, and there was some that did bad things. But another good example is Job. How Job was obedient to God, and he went through mad tests. And I make that example because in life we go through mad tests. Like seriously, we go through a lot of tests in life, and sometimes you be wanting to go in and do something negative sometimes. But maturing and growing as a man, you realize It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it to be out here sitting there singing county blues and over some nonsense. Like we have to be more. Um, we have to use our common sense. You know, like we have to make better decisions, better choices. You know, so going in a negative route is a no. So that's why I use the situation with Job of the Bible. I didn't get out the scripture that Job is out of, the chapters or whatever. I just wanted to talk. Most people know about Job, and most people definitely know about Adam. So, um, you know, I just wanted to get those two examples. So to wrap it up, I ain't gonna talk y'all to death. I know there's a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, I try to squeeze in because you got the playoffs and you got everything that's going on, you know. And I appreciate y'all taking this time out to come and chill with me. I'm gonna try to make sure I didn't forget nothing. All right, so for for the ladies and for the guys, don't make no excuse. Oh, this let me make this last point. I was the type of person that I hung around a certain people, a certain amount of people, whatever, and sometimes confusion will pop off. I was the person that would go and try to keep things calm, try to explain. Uh, I would make excuses for people. You know, it's been times where, um, I had a guy that I used to hang with had a high head. Like he get really upset quick and start, be wanting to fight and this and that and other. And, you know, I I had a soft spot for the dude. Like I could have easily like just not hang with him, but I know that, he was going through some things and that's why he was so reactive like that. So I just was trying to be a friend to him, But it was situations that came where it was about to be beef, unnecessary. And I would jump right on in and be like, nah man, just chill, man. He going through some things. Like he got problems and this and that and other. Like I was always the one making excuses for people's behavior, you know, and this is where we go wrong at. This is where we go wrong because part of manning up is accepting responsibility for your actions. So, with that being said, if you decide that you want to go out here and pop off at somebody running your mouth, whatever comes with that, you have to accept that. You're going to have to accept that. Like, people can't keep making excuses. Like, I remember so many times sitting and talking like, yo, man, chill with that stuff, man. Like, you ain't got to do all of that. Nah, man. Nah. Like, I'm hard. Like, nah, ain't nobody going to be talking to me like this. Like, come on, man. Some things, it's just not worth the fight, you know? Some things, it's just not worth the trouble. So, some comments, some words, it's not even worth the acknowledgement. You know, like for example, this YouTube. I done had somebody get on here and say something real ignorant on here, like, and I ain't saying no jokey stuff. Like I could take a joke. I got sense of humor. I'm talking about ignorant stuff, you know, and I could have been responsive. I could have been, nah, you don't be talking. I don't care about that stuff. I don't. I don't care about that. I don't care. You know what I said? Thank you for your comment. Have a good day. Appreciate you. Like, I mean, maybe in that feedback that I give him, some common sense will go through his head and say, well, damn, I wasn't expecting that type of response. I don't know. Either way, I don't care. It is what it is. I did what I did. I said what I said, and I'm not gonna lose no sleep behind it. This is the first time I even mentioned it, and this was all the way back when I was starting out. I had like 50 something subscribers. Like that could have easily made me say, "Man, I ain't doing this, man." It's just people just negative and all this. Listen. I'm not gonna let the devil stop the plan that God has for me. Like I said, 3 years ago, I set up this YouTube page, but I didn't go through with it because of fear. And because I let the devil get in my mind and tell me you couldn't do it. You can't do it. No, and you know what? About a month, 2 months, it's been 2.5 months now. 2.5 months ago, a voice came to me and said, do it. But no, even before that, no, around the same time with that voice telling me to do it, I watched a preacher on TV, and the preacher said that God got plans for you. Now he was just preaching. Now he wasn't talking to me. He on TV. He just preaching. He said God got plans for you, and you've been sitting around lollygagging, messing around. You need to get up and get up. Going on out and do it. Whatever that plan that God got for you, you need to do it. He said, you've been getting the ideas, but you've been sitting on them. So what you do is, whenever them ideas come to you, he said, I don't care if it's in the middle of the night. You get up and write it down. And that's exactly what I've been doing. That's exactly what I've been doing. And right now, I got about 20 different ideas written down. Not to mention little times where things come to me and I just do a little video on that I just speak on it right away. Like it's, I ain't gonna go do no whole live for it. I just go on and speak on it right away. So the fact that these things are happening and it's coming to me like it is, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my purpose, and mind you, I'm doing all of this. I'm trying to, bring myself back. I mentioned before, like I lost my brother, and I'm trying to recover from all of this. I've been sitting. I lost my brother a little while ago, but I've been stuck in life, and it's time for me to move forward and move on. And I encourage anybody, don't get stuck. Don't get stuck. You fall down in life, you get back up. The old folks used to say, when you fall, get back up and try it again. And for a long time, I've been down, feeling sorry, feeling bad, and it's God told me it's time. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. So anyway, I just wanted to give y'all that little touch up. But like I said, once again, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all coming in, sitting with me, talking to me. I can't see all of y'all names without getting all up on this screen. I ain't trying to do that, mess up the video. But thank you. Thank you for locking in. Thank you for sitting and listening to my story. I hope that you can take something from it and, do good for yourself, do better. And I hoping that in the future that I can continue to be an encouragement and that y'all continue want to come around and stick around. And I got a whole lot more to talk about. But, and oh yeah, I apologize for yesterday. Lord have mercy. I know y'all probably done been through this all day long. Like I had my live set up, had all my stuff together. The daggone internet and cable was off all day. I don't know what was going on. Say, what's going on around here? I call the people. I sit on the phone for 2 hours and they say they hung up the phone. After I was on the phone all that time, they hang up the phone. You know I was mad. So then I finally get them back on the phone, and they come talking about uh 10 p.m. or later. So that's when I went on and I went on and changed the live from yesterday to today. But I'm like, man, come on, y'all gotta do better than that. But anyway, but that's what happened yesterday. I apologize for anybody that had a plan to come in and sit in with me yesterday, and I failed y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. But it was my fault. It was the internet company. But we got it all straight. But anyway, that's all I got. That's all I got. I appreciate y'all. You know, I done got myself together a little bit. I'm sitting there. I said I can't come up here on this live looking like a ragamuffin. So I kind of got myself together a little bit for the live. I'm gonna try to keep myself together. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. This is YouTube's finest, chilling with Unc. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you for joining me. Until the next time, love, peace, and blessings. All right? Period.